Yes, we should sleep like so lightly.
Greetings, students. This is Dr. Nguyen, Dr. Howard. I'm coming to give you quick synopsis of the words that we will use for taking our quiz on Wednesday. So here are the words: dress to the nines, mow the lawn, fabric, bespoke tailor, client, elegantly, brands, import, export, major, native, volume, collections, season, cotton, manufacture, invest, conditions, offshore, textile, common, crew, disease, stock market, crash, investor, depression, replica, ticker tape, recession, interest rate, stocks and shares, pollute, protect, canyon, investment, value, return, egret, shore, marsh, depend on, chemical, due to, endangered, natural, cavern, ecosystems, climate, threaten, fossil fuels, greenhouse gas, atmosphere, global warming, cause, spectacular, form, fatal or fatal, survive. So dress to the nines. Let's say you are going to a wedding. Typically, people dress very nice when they go to a wedding. So that will be called dressed to the nines. When you have a house, typically in developed countries like Australia, the United States, and Japan, people have to cut the grass around their house. So that would be called mow the lawn. This is another way to say cutting the grass. Fabric. Fabric is the piece of clothing that people use to make shirts. Bespoke tailor. So bespoke tailor is a person who use textiles or piece of fabric to design or make a special suit or jacket or shirt. It's basically a customized person, a person who customize a special outfit for his or her customer, which is the same as client. So if you are a paying customer, you are a client. When you dress beautifully, when you dress very nice, you can say you are dressed elegantly. Now, you go to McDonald's, you eat at Wendy's, you patronize KFC. These are different brands. Brands are refer to the names of the companies like Amazon, Google, Facebook, the Home Depot. Export and import. I am in America. If I need to order shoes from Vietnam, I will receive shoes from Vietnam that will become import. But if I decide to send things out to sell, that will become import. So import means to receive, and export means to send out. Major. The word major has many different meanings. If you are a leader of a marching band, you are a major or a majorette for female. If you are a high-ranking official in the military, not a colonel, not a general, but a major. So a major means an official person with a high rank in the military. Native or native. So originally, I was born in Vietnam. So Vietnam is my native, my original country. So native is the original point where things are supposed to be. Volume. Volume is the number of things. So if you have a business, you want the number of customers to be high. That would become the volume. So when you turn on the television and you want the sound to be where you can listen, you turn on the volume or you turn off the volume or you decrease the volume, depends on the sound that you want to hear. So in terms of business, people want to have high volume of customers or high volume of transactions for their business on a particular day. Collections. Collections similar to a hobby where people gather as many things as possible. So people have collections of shoes, collections of special wine. So I collect stamps in the United States. So I have 5 different albums of stamps. So these are my collections of stamps, and they are very valuable if I sell them. Season. Season means the temperature, the related to the weather. So right now, the United States is experiencing the summer season. So when you season, it can also mean you use the ingredient to make the food taste better, like such as salt or sugar or pepper. Season. I season my food with special ingredients. Cotton. Cotton is the raw material that comes from a plant. So companies use cotton and transform cotton into textiles so people can make clothing. Cotton. Manufacture means to make. Invest. If people have money and they want to make money, they have to put money into something. For example, you want to be rich. You go into a store and buy a lotto or a lottery. Chances are you might win some money. That's invest. When people invest, there are risks. They might lose money because investment is very risky and very dangerous. So when you invest, your purpose is to hope that you can win some money, invest. Conditions. Condition is the atmosphere of a certain places. So for example, at this situation, the conditions in many countries are not good because people are experiencing the pandemic 19. So let's say John has a family, his sister, his brothers, his mom, and his dad. They always argue. You can say that his family conditions are not good. Another example of conditions can be at work. Lisa and Michael go to work. Their boss is very bossy. Their co-workers are not organized. They don't have air conditioner. The place is a mess. So you can say Lisa and Mike have bad or poor working conditions. Offshore. Let's say McDonald's is an international conglomerate. It's a multinational company that have factories in different countries. So instead of having factories in America, McDonald's, which is an American company, decide to open up plants or factories in Vietnam and China and other countries where they can pay low wages or salary to workers to make the products like shoes. That will become offshore. Now, so offshore is different from outsource. Okay, so let me see. Okay, so offshore is different from outsource. Outsource is like when you have a company and instead of hiring your own workers, you decide to hire another company to do the work for you in the same area. You are not sending your company to another country. When you send your company to another country, that become offshore. But outsource is when you're trying to hire another company who a company that has the expertise to do the work for your company, because your goal is not to pay benefits and wages to the worker, which can become more expensive for you as a business owner. Textile. Textiles is the piece of fabric that people use to make clothing. Now, uh, all fabrics are textile, but not all textiles are fabric. Common. Let's say I am a teacher and you are my students. What is the common thing that you and I have? Well, I have two eyes and you have two eyes. So that is the common thing that we have. Both of us have two eyes. Common, something that is similar. Crew. Crew and disease go together in a way. So we have experienced COVID-19, and COVID-19 is bad. Some people think it's a hoax or a fake thing, but I'm not sure about that, but people are dying. So I can say that COVID-19 is a cruel disease. Cruel means something that is bad. Disease is an illness that people or plant can have. Stock market. A stock market is basically a market that sells stocks. So if you have a company and you want people to invest or buy a part of your company, you begin to sell shares, and the shares come together as stock to be sold in the stock market, like the New York Exchange. Crash. Crash is similar to accident when something hit another thing. If John wants to open a new business, he take his money out and pour into the new business. Chances are he want to earn some profit to be wealthy. He becomes an investor. Depression has different meanings. When I have a depression, I feel sad. So in terms of economic standpoint, when a country faces a depression, that country has an economic issues where people cannot find jobs. Okay, so that's depression. Replica. For example, the famous painting of Mona Lisa. If Nguyen or Phat want to make a copy of that picture, they will have a replica, a copy. Ticker tape. Nowadays, we don't use ticker tape because we have technology. So ticker tape is used many years ago when there was not, when technology was not available. So workers would print out the price of the stocks on a tape, just like a rolling tape on a piece of paper as the clock ticking, ticking, ticking. So they can record the price of the stocks as the time passed by. Recession is a period of economic problem. Recession goes before the depression of an economic situation. When countries start to lose consumer confidence in buying, companies start to downsize, companies start to lay off workers. That is the starting point of a recession. And as more companies start to lay off more and more companies come to realization that they cannot handle the business, they have to close the business, that will become a depression. Interest rate. Interest rate has to deal with the amount of certain percentage that a bank will charge a person in borrowing the money to finance a particular project. So if you are interested in buying a house and you don't have money, you go to the bank and you ask for a loan. So bank will give you a loan, but they have to charge interest rate. It can be below 0.5 or 0% interest rate, or maybe 10% interest rate, depending on your credit history. Stocks and shares. If you have a company like Amazon and you want to invite people to become part owners, you sell the shares. So when you have shares, you have ownership of a company. The share will enter the market known as the stocks. The stock is the equity that the company have in the marketplace. Stocks and shares. Pollute. When you make the ecosystem or the environment or the climate or the atmosphere dirty, you pollute. You can pollute the water. When you pollute water, you make water dirty. Protect. Protect means to save something. So we have global warming, which means the air is hotter and hotter. The environment is experiencing different climate changes. So we need to protect many things like the natural resources, so future generations can have them to use. So protect means to save. Canyon. Canyon is a kind of landform that is formed due to the weather. So when the rain flowing down steadily and over time, the water can cut through a mountain and form canyon. When there's a canyon, you can see a small island that is formed as a result of the water carving into a piece of mountain or rocks. Investment. If you have money and you decide to buy a house or a business, you put money into an investment. You want to be able to make money out of that. Value. Value can mean many things. Like, for example, you have a family value, which means that you love your family. Your family is your number one priority. Another person might has a value as his or her job, because without his or her job, he or she cannot have the funds to pay for things that he or she needs. So value is how you see things, what is important to you. If you invest money, put money into something, you want return. You want return on investment, meaning that you hope something come back positively. Return means something to come back. An egret is a bird, color white, that sometimes you can see at the beach walking around looking for food. Egret. A shore is the borderline between water and the land of a marine area. So you can see a lake. So a lake has a shore too. The beach has a shore. So when there's a shore, you can walk on it. Marsh. Marsh is a wet area that grass, trees, and other vegetation can grow. So in a marsh, it is hard for people to build houses because it's very wet. Alligators and other marine animals live on marshes, okay? Depend on. Due to COVID-19, people need technology to work that depend on. Depend on means needing something, chemical, Clorox, bleach, disinfectant, things that we can use to kill viruses, bacterium, or bacteria. Due to means because. Due to coronavirus, people have to depend on Zoom for conducting meeting and classes. Endangered. Endangered means almost disappear from Earth. Animals, due to people overeating and overhunting like whales. Whales are endangered because they are almost disappear from Earth. Natural, water, air, wind. These are natural because it's not man-made. Cavern. Cavern means a cave, a very big cave. If you remember about the Thai boys who went to a cave to explore and end up have to be rescued from the flooding of the cave in Thailand several years ago. Cavern. Ecosystem. Ecosystem is a place where living things like insects, ants, flies, birds live and interact with other non-living things like rocks, water, and air. So ecosystem. So in an environment, there can be different ecosystem. You might have a land ecosystem, you might have the air ecosystem, and you might have a marine ecosystem. Climate. Climate relate to the weather. Climate and season are different. In a way similar. So for example, in Vietnam, you might have two different climates, the rainy climate and the hot climate. Whereas the United States, we might have 4 different climates depending on the seasons of the year. Threaten. Threaten means to present an opportunity to make someone hurt. So when you threaten someone, you can hurt that person, or you can make that person feel that he or she is not safe. Threaten. When you yell at someone, that's threaten. When you say, I'm going to kill you, but you're not going to do that, you are using verbal threatening. Fossil fuels. Fossil fuels include natural gas, coal, and petroleum. These are found in nature. These are natural. If we use them extensively, we don't have it. We don't have fossil fuels for future generations to use. Greenhouse gas, this is a gas that is trapped in the atmosphere, okay? If we don't treat greenhouse gas, we will have problem with global warming. The atmosphere is basically the surrounding air. Global warming is a condition of the atmosphere where the temperature has risen in the past several years. Cause, the reason, okay? What happened? So for example, John is hungry. Well, why is John hungry? What is the cause for his hungry? Maybe he did not eat. The reason why something is happening, the cause. Spectacular. Spectacular means something that is great. Form. Well, if you go to a company and apply for a job, they ask you to fill out some forms. So let's say I have water. Well, water doesn't have a form or shape. So in order for water to have a form, I need to put inside of a container like this bottle. Fatal or fatal, which means deadly. Survive. Survive means to be alive, to live. So these are the words that we have learned. So now I want to see if you can match the images or the statement with the words that we just discussed. So here you see the ladies holding the purse. How does she look? If you say dressed to the nines, then you are absolutely right. Or maybe she dresses elegantly. What is the lady and what is the man? What are they doing? They are cutting grasses. They are cutting the grass. So you can say they mow the lawn. This is a lawn mower. This is a lawn mower. They pushing the lawn mower. So they are cutting the grass. So they mow the lawn. You see the man here? He's under the water, but he is not drowning. He is not dying. So he survived. If he drowned, it can be fatal. That means he will die. So when he died, this accident will become very cruel. Now, see, this is an example of a ticker tape. The lady who worked for a stock exchange company was standing next to a machine that printed out the price of the stocks as the time tickling. Here you find 5 people. In the center is a lady. She wants to sell part of her company. And the people here, they want to buy a piece of her company. So the people here, they are who? They are investor. So they want to have an investment by buying a piece of her company. So when these people buy shares of her company, the shares will become part of the stocks that are sold in the stock market. This is Mona Lisa. If you can make a photograph of her, that will become the replica, a copy. 7-Up, Lay's, Oreo, Lipton. What are these? These are different brands. What do you see here? Some of you might say fabric. Some of you might say textile. So it depends. Import and export. Imports mean come in. Export mean go out. What do you see here? If you say egret, you are correct. This gentleman is in the front line. So he is a what? He's a major of a band. That means he is a leader. So as you can see here, this is the military ranking. You start out with the second lieutenant, first lieutenant, captain, and then major. So major is an official personnel in the military. The highest person in the military is the general. So all of these are commissioned. These are not enlisted. So major is the 4th higher ranking official in the military. This gentleman is doing what? What is he doing? Okay. He is fixing or altering the clothes. He's customizing the clothes based on the client requests. So he's a bespoke tailor. What do you see here? This is a raw material. It's come from a plant. So this is called cotton. The managers often blame workers with pay cut if they do not work hard. When managers do this, the workers become afraid and worried. They either try to work harder or they may quit and find another company. So what can you put on the line? So if you say threaten, then you are correct. Threaten. Make them afraid. The lady dresses blank every time she goes to a special event because she wants to be the center of attention. So what word can you put on the line here? If you say elegantly, then you are correct. She dressed elegantly. She dressed beautifully. She dressed nicely. Phat wants to open a new business. He plans on using his own money to fund the business. He is an, what do you think? What word can you use on the line to complete the statement? Remember, he used his own money, so he is an investor. Vu plans on using his own money to open a boba drink business. He hopes this blank will bring him more financial success. So he used his own money to open a boba business. So what do you put here? If you say investment, you are correct. What do you think here? Natural gas, petroleum, coal. These are called what? Fossil fuels. Blank are certain gases in the atmosphere, such as water vapor, carbon dioxide, nitrous oxide, and methane, for example, that trap energy from the sun. Without these gases, heat would escape back into space, and Earth's average temperature would be about 60 degrees Fahrenheit colder. So what word can you use here? If you say greenhouse gas, you are amazing. What do you see here? These are collections of bugs or insects, collections. Here, this is a factory. What does a factory do? Factory, manufacture. Manufacture means make. So I have 6 sentences here, and I want you to use the words that we just discussed on the lines. So I will give you 10 minutes. So you can hit pause and then come back to review the answer if you want to. But for number 1, I would use the word disease. So COVID-19 is a terrible disease that has killed many people in many different countries. Number 2, COVID-19 is a blank disease. What kind of disease? I'm looking for a word that means bad, so it is cruel. You can get a very low blank from Chase Bank, say Nguyen. So you go into the bank, very low what? Low interest rate. So say Nguyen, who was looking for ways to finance new homes for his new blank. So his new what? New client, because the client was thinking of buying a new house in Ho Chi Minh City. There was a blank car blank on this highway. What kind of blank? So maybe there was a major car what? Major means huge. Car crash. Crash means accident. The accident was so blank because see lives mean deaths. So was so fatal or fatal. Number 5, if we are not making an effort to reduce the use of blank now, future generations will not have them to use later on, which can blank their lives in many ways. The use of what? Fossil fuels, which can threaten or hurt. Workers in many factories demand better working blank because they want to have places where they can be safe and feel comfortable working conditions. So if you had all 10 correct, you are ready for the test.